Welcome to the Pill Diaries. And the reason I'm doing this video is because you may not see what's happening between the sheets. Right now, President Trump, who I actually don't mind very much, fuck off libtards, I don't care. He's there because no one wanted to vote for Hillary, and because the DNC would not allow Sanders to move ahead of Hillary. And the same thing's happening right now with Tulsi Gabbard. She will not be allowed to be the candidate because she might win. And to understand this properly, you have to understand the fact that American politics is a one-party system, right? So the DNC and the GOP pretend to be enemies, but overall, who can they deliver that best serves the real government? And the real government is the people behind the scenes who create wars, okay? Anyway, moving past that. Right now, you've got Xi Jinping and Donald Trump engaged in a so-called trade war. And it's not really what it really is. America's bending over and taking up the ass, but okay. I used to think Donald Trump was a patriot, and he actually is, but he's first and foremost a narcissist. And if you understand this, you will also understand that even though he's more patriotic than most presidents that America's ever had, his ego matters more than any of theirs except for Hillary Clinton, who's also a megalomaniac, complete psychopath. She's much worse than him. But Clinton, he wasn't worse than Trump, but he just happens to be a possible pedophile and definitely a sex offender, right? But his wife is a psychopath. And you get this sometimes, like, oh, I'm a powerful man, I go with her, oh, she turns me on, oh, she covers my back. She hasn't even gone to find a man yet because I cheated on her. Because all she cares about is power, okay? Anyway, moving back to Trump. Between Trump and Xi Jinping right now, what's really happening, just so you understand. Imagine a few years ago when Bitcoin was worth $1. Imagine the US dollar was Bitcoin. Now imagine the US dollar is today, where Bitcoin's worth something like $7,500. Let's just pretend that it's at its lowest in the space of the last 2 years. It's at 3,000, right? Or something. I think the last 2 years I think 3,500 is the low of the last 2 years of Bitcoin. Let's pretend that's the US dollar. Unlike the US dollar, China and Siberia and everywhere else in the world can mine it and create it. But the US can't because it will not allow any other currency to be more powerful than the US dollar, even though it already is, right? Then you look at the trade deals in parentheses, right? At the top of my hands that you can see slightly here, right? Now, when you create a deal, and that deal is to devalue the currency of your competitor, do you know what that actually does? That is like rewinding the time where your US dollar was worth less. Now, this is the case of China right now, who's mining all the Bitcoin. I might have got that wrong before, by the way, but China's mining all the Bitcoin. So you rewind that time till the Bitcoin's worth $1, even though you know it's going to go up in value, given the fact that we know that China mines Bitcoin and China buys gold. America doesn't have any gold except for what it's misappropriated from other governments and it won't give back, same as England. It's sold everything else. And America also doesn't mine Bitcoin. So it has no silver, it has very little silver, very little gold, and very little Bitcoin, very little Litecoin. All it has is printed paper shite. And it's managed somehow to elevate the value of that paper shite even more. In other words, that's rewinding the value of Bitcoin. Just think about it that way. I want you to substitute the yuan for Bitcoin. So right now, America seems happy because, hey, look, we're doing really well, we're doing heaps of trade, they've got their side devalued, our side's up. No, it means nothing because we know that only a short space of time, in the same space that it took Bitcoin to come from 1,000 to 20,000, which was only a year, by the way, it is going to take for the Chinese yuan to absolutely blitz the American dollar. In the meantime, what America's doing, instead of paying a fair rate, let's say, for example, the yuan is the Bitcoin and it's worth 20 grand. So for every 20,000 American dollars, you're getting one Bitcoin. But instead, right now, what China has managed to fool, and I will say that, fool out of America, is they've managed to fool America into giving them 20,000 per 20 Bitcoin, or 30 or 40 or 50. And when it comes to its value, and the American dollar absolutely tanks, as it's going to happen. So America has managed to do a thing where they use quantitative easing to delay the collapse of their economy. And it's not just American economy, it's Chinese as well. It's the Eurozone. It's all fiat economies. They're all collapsing. But they've come up with an ingenious plan, which is kind of smart for the short term. But we know that short-term things don't really last. It's not going to last. What's going to happen is Britain, the Eurozone, perhaps Asia. I'm not going to focus on Asia too much because it's too hard to say how they've sheltered. They might have sheltered their economy fairly well. BRICS nations too, with the exception of China. They're highly exposed. But anyway, every other BRICS nation, India, they may have done deal. I'm not watching it close enough to know whether South Africa and India and whoever else in the BRICS nations. I think Brazil and countries like that, right? It's too hard to know what they've done in the background, but I don't want to focus on that because it's actually not that important. The things that really matters are the massive economies of the world. That's Japan and China and America, England. England's a mess. It's going to get worse as well. America and England could be doing something with the military side of their economy. You've just seen Boris Johnson sell a national security asset to America. He's basically committed treason. He's a retard. So like the Americans, I have a feeling that America and Britain are going together to move to a new state of totalitarianism where they're going to start saying, well, what you think doesn't matter. We're going to start bombing countries. We've done it already. We've disobeyed international law for the past 200 years, Britain and America, England and America. What could be happening now is they could just be saying, look, we know the only two things we have is military and banking. And banking's fucked. And military, it relies on chaos. And that's something that we create very well. But the whole world is growing wise to it now. So if we can't sell chaos, we're going to impose chaos, right? That's what I think America and Britain might be up to. But let's move it to another side where I think that China have won the war. And that is, they have convinced America that their currency is worth less. That's like me understanding now that Bitcoin's worth 100K and convincing you that it's worth 1. Right? But not giving you 1, telling you that you need to buy it at a rate of that, so that when you pay me in that, because they're not paying China in USD, they're paying China in their currency. That's what I think is happening. And if you got the chance to pay me instead of 15 Bitcoin per month 3 years ago or 4 years ago, you had to pay me 150, I'd be like, I love America. I'm being Arabic right now. Oh yeah, I love America. What I think is happening right now is they've really screwed America over, and Trump is such an egomaniac that he's falling into this trap because he's thinking, right now, yeah, I look great, don't I look great? It's the best thing that's ever happened right now. And by the way, I'm not a Trump hater. I'm glad that it's him and not someone else just selling war and death like Bill Clinton or Hillary Clinton or Obama, right? But it happens to be Trump. And I think he's being made a fool of, but he doesn't realize it. Because his currency is being seen as bigly and their currency is seen as smally, little boo-boo, he's feeling that he has a bigger dick and he's slapping his dick on their nose and saying, yeah, China. But when you take what he has and what he spent, and then you devalue it more. So he has what he has. Well, it's not going to make much difference on his side, but on their side, when their valuation increases 10 and 100-fold, and then with that 100-fold valuation of what they got paid in Yuan becomes, the buying power becomes much, much higher, they can multiply their gold reserves. They can multiply anything else that they happen to be buying, lithium, whatever else it is. And they're going to leave America in the dust. I cannot believe they are dumb enough to fall for this, but they're doing it right now. And the only reason I want to kind of highlight this as a thought and something I want to get to the world is because as much as I cannot stand, I love America. I lived there for 4 years. I've been all over the country. I've been traveling there for 20 years. Parents lived there for 25. And yeah, I like China as well. But I can't stand the system in China. I can't stand the system in America either, so don't get me wrong. I'm not for either place. But if I was to choose my country to be ruled by a tyranny such as America or China, it's a hard one, eh? It's a hard one. If it was exposed to the population of each country, I would choose America, definitely, because the people are nicer overall. That's a really harsh thing to say. I know a lot of people in China, just that you're really blunt. You're blunt people. And, yeah. Anyway, so I would just say that if it was to do with the covert government of each country, I would say that you cannot get worse than America. And I think they've screwed up because they've fallen into a trap. America's going to end up paying all this money, and this trade deal between the two of them is going to happen. When the flippening happens and the currency of China becomes worth a lot more, America's going to be left holding the bag, as they say in trading lingo. That's what's happening right now. And he cannot even see it. You know why? Because he's thinking, bigly currency equals me, big man. That's what's happening. And China's thinking, we know our value. It's going to reach there one day. But I would gladly let you think that my currency's worth less so you can buy more of it. You know? That's what's happening right now. I just wanted to expose that fact. Well, okay, let's call it a theory until it becomes a fact. Maybe it doesn't. Maybe they engineer the system so it doesn't happen. Maybe they throw their toys at the pram and start throwing nuclear bombs everywhere so everyone just toes the line. But as far as the game's concerned, if they play the game by the rules, they will lose. And the result of that loss is going to be that their currency is worth nothing. They're going to be holding the bag, and China's going to be having 10x, 100x on its currency, and it's going to completely control America from a financial point of view, fiscal point of view. All right, that's about it. Bye.